So is there any connection for a student here after secondary? Any connection to UK or?
Yeah, I think this is certainly something that the owners wanted to develop. So their overall idea was to have many schools all around Malaysia and internationally, and then build up a rapport with universities in each of those countries. So, the idea is maybe to have a school in Vietnam and Cambodia, and then start relationships and start talking to universities in the UK, America, and Australia, and even China, because a lot of the parents are wanting to send their children to China for university. So that market is opening up, and it's a huge market, of course. So that's the idea.
Yeah, maybe I'm representing a lot of parents from Hong Kong and China, and they have kids maybe various ages. Maybe some of them are primary age, some of them are secondary age. Do you have any kind of like bridging program for those kids when they start studying here to adapt the environment or adapt the program changes, maybe for primary first?
Okay, so I think it's really important for any child that we get into the school to help them bridge both emotionally and behaviorally from a social point of view and also from an academic standpoint. So especially with the little ones, the social side is incredibly important, and equipping them with the social skills to pair them up with a buddy, for example. If it's a language area of difficulty that they're having, or their level of English is not quite good enough, we first of all, when they come in, we assess them just to see what level they're at. Can we, depending on what class we can put them in. We do have the wonderful support of our teaching assistants as well, which is really beneficial because it does allow the class sizes to stay really small, and then the groups within those class sizes also to be really small. I think we're lucky in this school that everyone does go above and beyond as much as possible to differentiate for our children. We're really aware that they do all come from different educational backgrounds, different linguistic backgrounds, and that we can cater for whatever their own strengths and individual talents are as much as possible.
For say 14 or 15 years old, they are in year.
In 14, 15, they're going into about year 10. In secondary school, we echo quite a lot what happens in primary school, and that any student, when they come, whether it be for a trial day or for their very first day of school, if they're joining more permanently, they would have a buddy so that they can be shown around school, because especially in secondary, they're going from different classroom to different classroom. And starting a new school is overwhelming for anyone, whether it be a 3-year-old, a 14-year-old, or even an adult. When we have new staff starting, when you start a new job, it's scary, it's overwhelming. So at Straits, we really try to make sure that our students feel settled emotionally, and that they are happy. And the academics usually follows hand in hand with that. If a student doesn't want to come to school, they won't learn. So whether they're 14 or 15 or 4 or 5, we'll ensure that they come in, that there is strategies in place for them to catch up with work that they may have missed, that they have a social surrounding of them so they can be shown around and that they feel comfortable. But also we have, if in secondary, what we're going to be starting very soon is our EAL program, so that if they're coming in with little to no English, that they can be supported in catching up with the basics that need to be able to access the curriculum.
So on top of that as well, when parents come here, they have to come with the previous school's academic record. So, if a child was coming from an American-based curriculum school, we would try and analyse that information to relate it to the British curriculum, so the child is not lost, and we're not lost either. So we're trying to relate the concepts that we're taught in that, whether it be American or Australian, and trying to relate it to the British curriculum, so we can see where there's barriers or where we need to fill the gap. So
this is a very important procedure to teaching according to one's attitude, and what is the level he or she is in the mother country, and when they come here, how to bridge that to the new curriculum.
And it's strategies and skills as well, because there are certain things that you can bridge the gap in terms of knowledge and content, but there's also how to actually go about answering the questions, the different learning styles, the different learning difficulties, but also
how to collaborate.
Exactly, how to work together, how to attack a problem head on, how to fail and get back up and try again and not be disheartened. And there are lots of transferable skills that we can teach our students that they can use in every single subject, whether it be maths, science, humanities, English, or even PE.
And so I saw you just have a celebration of Chinese New Year, and then do you have any special program to let people to adapt to the cultural change?
I mean, every year, so we celebrate all cultures in the school. So, yeah, at the start of the year, I'll give you a kind of rundown. We celebrate the Indian holiday of Deeper Valley. Then we move on. It is Christmas after that. We also have International Day, which celebrates the cultures of every person in the school, wherever they may come from. After that, then we have Chinese New Year usually, and then after that we have Hari Raya, which will celebrate our Malay students. And at the very end, we have what we call Challenge Week, which is basically the children will go away for a period of time to do team building and just try and really teach outside of borders, so outside of the classroom, and get into situations that they've never been in before. And so it's hopefully
outside campus.
Yeah. I think now more than ever, with the advancement of technology, it's important to realize that we have 21st century learners, and that our students are not just citizens of Malaysia or Hong Kong or China or Australia or the UK, but they're in fact citizens of the world, and that global citizenship is something that we feel strongly about. So it's important to embrace and to acknowledge and to celebrate all the different cultures, but also in a way that ensures that they are treated fairly and equally, and that we can appreciate all the different cultures. And I know personally I enjoy wearing a sari for Deepavali and a cheongsam for Chinese New Year, but I think that the cultural celebration and diversity that we have in the school is something that's really important.
So what kind of ability you mostly focus to develop in the age of primary, and what kind of ability you especially focus on the secondary age?
So I think I'm talking more about our moral program and our PSHE, and maybe touching on certain issues and topics which the kids relate to a lot. So depending on the age, children have many emotional difficulties, as they grow up.
Yeah.
And we have to acknowledge that, and also we have to kind of make sure that we approach it with caution, because obviously where we are in Malaysia, some topics are a little bit taboo, but certainly what we try and do with our programs is to embrace the change, and to make sure that the children understand that change is coming and not to be scared of it. So the change could be anything from body to mind to anything, but it's important that they're aware that this will happen, so it's not a surprise. If they're surprised, they'll get scared, and that's not what we want. So first of all, we want to make sure that they know what's coming, and then when it does come, we can then,
And I think we're lucky, because I would like to think that from the age of 3 all the way up to when they leave our school, there are certain values that we try and carry through and instill in all our children and all our students. We encourage them to be kind and honest and hardworking, and those are qualities and traits that hopefully we can instill and they can carry through their life. Obviously then how they apply those in different scenarios is what changes over time depending on their age group. So for a challenge that you need to show great determination and perseverance, for a 5-year-old is obviously very different, but still equally important to somebody who's 15 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just about equipping them with the skills that, of course, there will be obstacles to overcome and problems to overcome, but that they have what they need, the tools they need to overcome them when they meet those challenges.
And I think what's very telling as well, and especially in secondary where they're teenagers, and it's a very awkward phase. As we all know, we were all there. It's a horrendous time in your life for many reasons, but that our students are not afraid to ask for help. And that it is really important that they have a forum, they have an outlet to be able to ask questions, to be able to speak their minds, and to be able to just, if they have worries or trepidations, that we can sensitively approach those and deal with those, whether it be with the form tutor, who is their very first port of call every single morning and who's that sort of immediate bridge between home life and school life, or whether they come to see me as the head of secondary, or our school nurse, or whoever it might be. That it's just, but it's very important that they know that there are no questions that are too silly. You know, there are no questions that are off limits, and even if it's a question that is too sensitive that we can't ask them, we can point them in the right direction.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And I think this is not just verbal, and I can see happy faces all around the campus. So this is really, really good, and here is stressing international schools. And one more question that I am representing Hong Kong parents and China parents. They, in Hong Kong, we a lot of chances for parents to work as a volunteer or even form PTA inside school to help provide human resource for the schools. Do you do this in the Stress Internationals?
We do. Well, I mean, we want the parents to get involved with the school. It's not our school; it's their school as well. It's a community. And we are a community school. I mean, the school, as you walk around, you'll feel we are close. The kids will say hello.
Yeah.
We are, you know, they're not scared to come up and approach the teachers. We have a family feel, and I hope we continue to have that family feel as we develop and we get bigger and bigger. When people come here, one of the things that they do say about the school is, wow, it's just so nice that the kids will say good afternoon, or hello, good morning, these simple things. And that's what we try and do. We firmly believe that if we have a culture of this happening, then new children coming in will see that and automatically do that. That we don't have to tell them anymore. So if they see these good things being done, they will follow suit and do them themselves.
Yeah, it's very important to show that this is a kind of community where everyone know everyone, and then they play a very important role to make the place grow up together. So, as I can see, the students are very polite and very proactive to express themselves and say hello to, even though for strangers.
And we are starting to develop, you know, our coffee mornings to try and get parents in to talk with them. Not about anything, but just how their children are getting on and what they would like to see develop in the school. We can't promise anything, but what we can promise that we'll listen, and we'll try and do our best to make sure that these things are implemented and the school is progressive.
And you do coffee morning with parents, and are they active to join?
They have been up to now. They have been, in the coffee mornings that we did run, we had many parents come. What we're trying to do is separate that out a little bit. So we'll have maybe a lower school and primary coffee morning, upper school, a secondary coffee morning, because each area has their own concerns. And sometimes it's easier to deal with those concerns when that they can talk as a unit without, they don't really want to know what's happening in secondary. Secondary doesn't really want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
So it's better to have them split up.
Just want to know the
Exactly.
So, wow, this is so nice, and I feel very warm to some here. Everybody, I saw quite a lot of students are very happy here. So maybe they have, like you all here, and then you're caring and you're sophisticated in education. So very happy for me to have an interview for you here.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Martin.
Thank you.